The government's furlough scheme has been extended for an extra month until the end of April. It had been due to expire at the end of March. The Chancellor Rishi Sunak has also announced the extension of government loan schemes until the end of March to support businesses. Let's bring in Sky's economics editor, Ed Conway. Why has the Chancellor announced this and done this now, Ed?
Well, it is a bit of a surprise move. We weren't expecting anything on this. Essentially, it means that the furlough scheme goes on for an extra month, and then various of those other business schemes are extended as well. So the furlough scheme was going to end at the end of March. Now it's going to end at the end of April. But actually, it goes beyond that in terms of the detail of what we're hearing about from the Treasury. And the first crucial thing is that it's not just an extension of the furlough scheme. And remember, what we're talking about here is that the government is providing 80% of wages of those who can't necessarily work as a result of COVID-19. Now, there was going to be a review of that, and a lot of people thought that at that point, and the Chancellor said it was going to come in the new year, that the Treasury might scale that back, so the government was paying less of those wages that needed to be supported. Well, what's essentially happened today is he's brought that forward and he's made that decision, and it is going to continue. He's not going to scale it back. It is going to continue at 80% all the way through till the end of April. So that's quite significant, actually, even more so in a way than the extension. It doesn't have that hanging over it. If you're an employer or an employee under the scheme, you know that there is going to be that support going through to April. I think the other thing that's significant is that we've learned that the date of the budget is going to be March the 3rd. And why are those two dates significant? The end of April for the furlough scheme, the start of March for the budget. It potentially means that the Chancellor can start to introduce measures in that March budget that try to get the economy going again in time for the furlough scheme to come to an end, so people don't start to lay off their workers before they learn basically what kind of support there's going to be, whether it's going to be tax cuts or spending increases. But I think finally, when you kind of take an overarching sense of what we're learning about from the Treasury, it is the sense that many of these restrictions that we've been hearing about today are likely to continue well into the new year. And as a result of that, the government thinks that more economic support is going to be necessary, not just for the first few weeks and months of next year, but potentially all the way into the middle of the spring towards the end of April, underlining just how concerned they are that there will continue to be disruption to the economy as a result of COVID-19. So I think a lot to dig into it in terms of the subtext, but the substantial news is an extension of the furlough scheme, and that idea that the 80% was going to be reduced, well, that's off the table for the time being.